All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krueg Show with a little 49er video as we give you an update of everything that happened in Ninerland today. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And we're also big fans of Claw Daddy Arcade. They're a great follow on Instagram at claw_daddy_arcades to find a location near you. They've got 3 locations down in Southern California. They've got spots in Fresno and Modesto, and they've got 2 new locations opening this summer. They'll be in Capitola Mall in the Santa Cruz area. They're in the 831, and they'll be in Visalia Mall down in the Central Valley in Visalia, California. So 2 new openings for Claw Daddy Arcades, the Santa Cruz area, Capitola Mall, and the Central Valley in Visalia Mall. Check out Claw Daddy Arcades. He's a great follow on Instagram at claw_daddy_arcades to find a location near you. And when you stop by, tell him that Larry Kruger sent you. And thanks to Claw Daddy Arcades for being a proud sponsor of The Krueg Show. And this video is also brought to you by our friends Aura, and we'll have a word from Aura in just a minute. All right, let's talk about all the different stories percolating in Ninerland, and there are more than a few. Just a couple of the best ones that really stood out to me. Upton Stout, I thought looked really good in the minicamp. He is the lone Niner rookie to run with the first team defense. The 3rd round pick out of Western Kentucky. He had the best PBU in minicamp, a pass breakup on a ball that was going to Isaiah Nayer. So Upton Stout, look for Stout to start on the inside. I think the plan for the Niners is to play Demo Lenore outside opposite Renardo Green and to play Upton Stout inside at the slot corner. Couple other notes of interest. I feel really strongly, the more I read about Shemar Stewart, that I think the 49ers should pursue a trade for the Bengals defensive end, Stewart. I'm a big believer in Shemar Stewart. It's funny, Grant Cohn suggested offering Cincinnati a 2nd or a 3rd round pick in 2026 and a 5th round pick in 2027. That might not be enough to get it done. I would say offer a 2nd round pick next year and maybe a conditional pick that was more like, round 4 in 2027, and maybe even a player. If they want a defensive end, Robert Beal, you could send Robert Beal their way. You could send Sam Aquinu their way. But to me, Shemar Stewart makes a lot of sense. The Niners have more than $46 million in available cap space, 2nd most in the NFL. If you said to me, what's the Niners' biggest issues or needs, I would say it's injuries are a big factor. Can CMC stay healthy? And after that, number 1 need is pass rush. Bryce Huff was added. Mikael Williams was added. But, man, you can never have enough defensive linemen. And if you can get Shemar Stewart, I would do it. I absolutely would do it. The 49ers are worth $8.5 billion. They're trying to win that 6th Lombardi. Trent Williams, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, George Kittle. These are all future Hall of Famers in the prime or twilight prime of their future Hall of Fame careers. And the Niners are a franchise that's worth $8.5 billion. So this would be, add to your mix. You need to get more on the defensive line. Cincinnati is, battling with both their defensive ends. Trey Hendrickson is holding out. Shemar Stewart's now holding out. If you're saying, what is the story here, Krueg? Explain to me what's going on with Shemar Stewart. Basically, Cincinnati wanted to include contract language that could potentially void future guarantees in the deal if Stewart didn't act right on or off the field. And they've never had that in their contracts before. There are teams around the NFL that do have that in their contracts. Cincinnati has not been one of them. And they're trying to start a new deal here with Shemar Stewart, and Shemar and his agent are going, saying, hell no. You're not going to, we just want to be treated like everybody else. We just want what everybody else got. We don't want you to change the rules and start with us. So that's where it's at. Stewart went with the 17th pick in round 1. So he's due to make a 4-year deal worth just $18.9 million, which is very, very reasonable for the 49ers. Now, this is also interesting. Athlons is reporting that the Niners, the Patriots, and the Panthers could all be potential buyers for Shemar Stewart. Stewart's options are that he can sit out 2025 and re-enter the 2026 draft. And in that scenario, the Bengals would just lose him. They would get nothing. He would go back into the draft. They would be precluded from drafting him in 2026, but he would go back into the 26 draft, and they essentially would get zilch, nothing for their 2025 first-round pick that they took 17th overall. Stewart's other option is he can push for a trade. His other option is he can sign with Cincinnati. Now, there are rules about this stuff, and it's kind of important. According to the NFL's CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, Cincinnati has 30 days from the date of week 1 to get a deal signed with any unsigned draft choice. So basically, they have until August the 5th. That's the deadline. If Cincinnati gets Shemar Stewart signed by August the 5th, they're good to go. If by chance August 5th comes and goes and Cincinnati does not sign Shemar Stewart, they can't trade him this season. So they can't, if he doesn't sign by August 5th, they cannot trade him. And he's going to go back into the draft. So, once again, according to the NFL CBA, they have until August 5th to trade Stewart or trade any unsigned draft choice. They have until August the 5th, exactly 30 days before their first game. If he's still on the roster after August 5th, Cincinnati can't trade him this season. It's good to note. Couple other interesting notes. John Lynch went on with Matt Mayoko and said that there is no plan right now for the 49ers to add a wide receiver in trade. He says, we're always on the lookout. We're always keeping track of what's out there and who's in the market and what we may need and who may be available. But right now, they like Jordan Watkins. They like Jacob Cowing. They believe in Ricky Pearsall, and they believe in Jawan Jennings. Now, a lot can happen between now and the cutdown. I project the Niners to go with 6 wide receivers. The 6th wide receiver is most likely going to be Junior Bergen, the return man. But if Bergen, for whatever reason, is disappointing or doesn't show a lot, I would not be surprised with Demarcus Robinson out the first 3 weeks of the season if the 49ers tried to add a wide receiver from another team's roster at the cutdown. So look for that. I would say the 49ers are likely to go with 5 running backs, 5 running backs / fullbacks, 5 total backs. And I think they're going to go with 6 wide receivers. So we'll see how that shakes out. Couple other notes. Brock Purdy's work ethic and approach have made him a huge role model for the 49ers' younger players. This is according to John Lynch, who went on CBS Sports with former Niner executive Rand Carthon and a guy named Ryan Wilson and complimented Purdy and just said, hey, look, man, he's our guy. He's our guy. And the way this guy approaches the game, the way this guy works at his craft, he's a great example for our young players. And that's probably one of the things the Niners like the most about Brock Purdy. Couple other notes. CBS Sports' Cody Benjamin is reporting that the 49ers are a potential landing spot for the veteran free agent safety Justin Simmons. This is an interesting player. He's a 2-time All-Pro. He's 31. He's coming off of a 62 tackle, 2 interception season. The Niners have, I think, in Jason Pinnock and Richie Grant, they have 2 new players at safety that I think really look good. In addition, you got Marquise Siegel, who runs 4.37 and is supposed to be very, very bright. So Simmons is interesting. As I said, he's a 2-time All-Pro. He's a former Pro Bowler. He's 31. He's coming off a 62 tackle, 2 interception season, and he looks pretty good. What will it take to get him? I don't know. But according to Cody Benjamin, the Niners are a potential landing spot for him. And according to @49ers Sports Talk on X, the Niners, the Rams, and the Vikings are among the teams in the mix for ex-Packers corner Jiare Alexander. A lot of the speculation is that Alexander ultimately is going to get a 1-year, $16 million prove-it contract. He's a 2-time All-Pro corner. I will say this, I think the Niners have pretty good group of corners. I don't know that the need is severe, but man, when I read that the Eagles are really the team that's interested in Jiare Alexander. I'd be interested just as as a means to block. I don't want to see the Eagles add impact players to their defense, and Jiare Alexander is exactly that. So Philly, according to the reports, is interested. If I were the Niners, I would have interest just to block him from going to Philadelphia. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see him in Philadelphia playing with the Eagles. And a couple last notes as well. George Kittle. George Kittle says Brock Purdy, with his new $265 million contract, he said he's buying things from here on out. He's like, I'm not paying for anything anymore between me and Brock. Hopefully he pays for the Halloween party. Kittle says him and Juice have paid for the Halloween party in the past, but now that Brock's making $265 million, it's time for Brock to pony up and cover that tab. And George Kittle says Brock Purdy is also, a much better player than a lot of people think. In fact, George went on video and he had this to say. He said Brock is not, some check down master. Here's Kittle.
What's going on in your life, man? Everything good? I always like catching up.
Everything's great, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. I just got done with minicamp and OTAs, which was a blast.
Mm-hmm.
What was really fun this year was we had like 99% attendance for almost the entire thing, which we haven't had since probably 2019. So that's pretty fun when all the boys are back. You got to, do all the workouts, go to the meetings together, practice a little bit. And then for like the first 5 weeks, you're done every day, like at 1 or 2 o'clock. And so then all the boys get out there and they go golfing together, hang out, get some dinners together, just really building up that team camaraderie is what I would say. So I've been having a great time hanging out with the boys.
I mean, look at this. You're signed, Warner's signed, McCaffrey's healthy. Ayuk's coming back, at some point. Purdy's paid. I don't even know what the hell to ask you. What do I ask you? It's like boring.
Let's see.
It's boring in your world. What's happening?
Yeah.
Last year it was all like, who's not there? Who's there? You going to get signed? Purdy going to get signed? I'm bored. No offense.
I know. I'm so sorry that the 49ers aren't the centerpiece of some drama this year the NFL media to talk about.
Yeah.
And, the discourse, we're just not doing our jobs of being dramatic enough.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for making you have to work a little bit harder and not just to be able to have clickbait and headlines just right out of the locker room. I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. It's actually my first offseason, I think, without some type of quarterback drama.
Yeah.
So it's been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, and 49er fans aren't complaining about the defensive coordinator. That's
true. They're not,
right? I mean,
that might be like the underlying like headline for the Niners. That Saleh's back in the building. It is. He's really good at his job, and I'm really excited that we somehow convinced him to be our defensive coordinator again, because he knows what he's talking about. He's inspiring. He gets the boys fired up, and he just happens to also be really, really smart. So I'm pumped to have him back in the building, just hanging out with him a little bit, talking about stuff. You can just tell he's ready to roll this year, and he's going to get the boys fired up.
All gas, no brakes, right? That's what he does.
Yeah. That it is.
That's
yep.
him.
Violence is coming is what I would say.
Okay. That sounds very Game of Thrones-ish. Oh, wait a minute. I just found out what. Oh, that's right. I totally forgot. Now the conversation is Purdy worth it. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Now, hey, we landed on something,
You're right.
Is he worth it, George? You're going to hear that.
I am. I've heard it multiple times already. I would say, I don't know what his winning percentage is, but when you win a lot of games and then the only, 2 years you go to NFC Championship or better, I think that's decent. And one of my favorite things about Purdy is everyone calls him the checkdown merchant. And then like the last 2 years, he's had the least amount of checkdowns in the NFL as a starting quarterback. So I think he's doing pretty well.
So there you go. Kittle standing up for his quarterback. He's not a checkdown king. He's much, much more than that. And of course, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for sponsoring our video. And now thanks to Claudaddy Arcades as well for sponsoring this video. And now a word from our sponsor, Aura. Have you ever typed your name on the internet and seen all of your private information is online? Are you tired of receiving tons of spam calls from random numbers? Are you receiving more and more of these as time has gone on? Well, that's where Aura, the sponsor of today's show, can really help you out. Data brokers sell your information to scammers and spammers and anyone else who may want to target you. Your full name, your email, your home address, all your records, your health records, who your relatives are. It's all out there. That's why I've been using Aura. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it also protects me from hackers who could use the information to help them access my social media accounts, my bank accounts, or any other sensitive information. Aura also does so much more to protect me and my family from online threats I can't see. I get other features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. It's really easy to set up. And best of all, I get everything at one affordable price. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to the link in the description to start your 2-week free trial. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle, thanks to Claudaddy Arcades, and thanks to Aura for sponsoring The Krueg Show, and thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krueg Show on YouTube.